An A team has 2 medics. An A team, which are usually set up on the Cambodian border, in the Laotian border, what they do is a Special Forces A team has the ability to train a guerrilla force, an indigenous guerrilla force of up to 500 people. They aren't like the Navy SEALs. The Navy SEALs are out there with a lot of bravado and a little bragging on the side. We've always been known as the quiet professionals compared to the Navy SEAls. Now, when you go to Fort Bragg and you go to the Special Forces Parachute Club, you're sitting at the bar with Navy SEAls, and we'll bitch and moan about how bad the other one is, and then when we get up and leave, we hug each other.
Right.
We're brothers. So you had the air command, and then you had the Navy SEALs doing some stuff, and then we were the ones doing all the ground stuff, going into Cambodia and Laos. So what we did is we would have medics assigned to the dispensary. We would get snake bites in there. We'd get all these Montagnards and Vietnamese were always coming down with. The big word was when they would come in for sick call in the morning, they go Dao Boom, which means stomach ache. That would be a D-A-U and then B-U-N-G, Dao Boom. And we trained our nurses. They spoke good English, but they didn't know all the technology for all of the stuff we had in the dispensary and diseases and equipment and all that. So I'd go in there, and I would pick up a scalpel, I'd pick up a tongue depressor or anything in there, and then translate it for them. They translated it into Vietnamese. So I mean, when we had an operating bed in there and everything, I mean, it was about the only thing we didn't have was an X-ray machine. We could have done major surgery in there, but we'd use ether because we didn't have, we didn't have the sophisticated modern anesthesias. But every day we set up a shock kit. It's like if someone is allergic to penicillin and they go into anaphylactic shock, or they're stung by a bee or a wasp and they go into anaphylactic shock, you have to have those 2 medications ready to shoot into them. So every morning I'd go in there and we would throw out the one that from the day before and we make a new one. And it sat right there. And believe me, we operated on, I mean, we had casualties coming in there, and we had to keep our heads about us. Mm-hmm. So we'd have medics assigned to the dispensary. Then we would have medics go on ground operations. They wouldn't let us go out with a recon. They cut that off because earlier that year, within a month, in the spring, I got there in July, in the spring, they lost 2 medics on operations. And one of those operations where an entire team was wiped out. And they never recovered the bodies. They couldn't get back in. When they flew into the landing zone, up come concrete bunkers that the North Vietnamese had planted around it and just blew them apart. The MAC-V-SOG they say that MAC-V-SOG suffered more than 100% casualties. That means wounded and dead. Mm-hmm. Now, I was never wounded. I can tell you that I had bullets flying by my head too close. And to hear the zing of a bullet is scary enough. So they would go on ground operations with the hatchet forces, which was the company size, or a couple of platoons, 20 to 40, 60 men. And as a support medic, I went on those. And then the big thing was supporting the recon teams going into Cambodia.